8 years hosting the show, we talk about it a lot. Stress can have a negative effect on your health, and to help you dial back your stress level and overcome life's challenges is the author of 21 Days to Resilience, Psychologist Dr. Zelana. And thanks for being here, because we have talked so much on our show about stress and how it negatively impacts not only our quality of life, but the way we feel physiologically. I want to ask you some of the top ways to de-stress, but actually really quickly, I just thought of something. Since you're here, Molly, what is your top way to de-stress? Share with us. Teach us.
You know, I make lists. I know that sounds weird in terms of like de-stressing, but like if I make lists or if I read a book, I get off the internet. To de-stress, that little red beeping little email that keeps flashing, I don't want to see it.
To cut out all that input that keeps coming in.
Even if it's for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, like with my, we actually met in a mommy group. We both have 2 kids. And even with them, like, I don't even want them to see, like, the phone. Like, so when I'm in the playroom or I'm on the couch with them, like, that's definitely less stressful.
Drew, do you have something?
2-minute sex, I think, yeah. It doesn't take, you know, we're talking about 5 minutes is the average, you know. 2 minutes will de-stress you, too,
2 minutes will do the job.
That was a joke. It's just finding something that puts you in a happy place that turns everything off, and it may be a workout, it may be a walk. It can be something very simple.
It's important.
You concur. Now, Dr. Zelana, I feel like we live in a day and age where we can never break away from everything that's going on, the technology. So what do we do?
Well, with respect to technology specifically, that's such a good point. And one of my favorite tips for that is to literally create tech-free zones in your life. So whether that's at the dinner table or when you're with your kids or somewhere where you literally just completely disconnect and don't allow yourself to pick up that phone again. But I always say, you know, think of your emotional health like a muscle. When we achieve the physique we want at the gym, we don't just stop working out. We actually have to maintain it and keep at it. And, you know, resilience and emotional health works very much in the same way, and it actually declines over time if you don't keep at it. And that's really why I wrote the book. And, you know, we were talking about stress and what people do. You know, one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make is that, you know, you're stressed out and you think you don't have time for yourself. You don't have time for a break, but that's when you need a break the most. And you're not going to prioritize yourself unless you actually build it into your schedule, just like you do with work. So literally put it into your calendar. Me time. You know, it's not a reward, it's a necessity.
How do you try to channel it, let's say stress in general, more to the positive side and look at it like, you know what, this is actually going to fuel me in a good way rather than sap the energy out of me?
Right, and that's wonderful that you said that. You know, there's a lot of research that's been done lately that stress is actually really adaptive if you turn it on its head and you take control of it. So that's what resilient people do really well, is that they're able to take their challenges and turn them into a learning experience, an opportunity for growth, or something that really is invigorating and inspiring, and that's really great. You know, I always say, too, when you're stressed out, we were talking a little bit about, you know, social support, and, you know, I met Molly at a baby group, and it's so important to have those friends around. You know, we really have to reach out to people when you're stressed out to get the support you need. It's called support for a reason, but don't just assume that people know what you need. So, you know, do you need them just to listen and not say a word? That's okay. You know, tell them you need that. Do you need constructive criticism? Do you need some feedback? You know, tell people what you need and you'll get that in return.
And if you don't tell them, should you ask then? I mean, should you say, what do you need from me?
100% too.
I asked, when I got dumped a couple of times in a row, and I went to see a therapist because I'm like,
somebody dumped you?
Someone dumped me. Can you believe it? They dumped me.
What are their names? We're going to publicly shame them.
We're not, but I wasn't feeling good about myself, and I told the therapist, I'm like, I need you to hold me accountable. I need you to tell me when to get out of something. I could not do it. I would just be codependent, and I would stay in the relationship, and I would stay, and I'm like, okay, if I do this better, he'll like me more. If I do this, and I was exhausted.
And I think that's the other interesting thing I wanted to touch upon. A lot of times stress is also a reflection of we just need to remove ourselves from a situation, because it doesn't matter how much meditating you do or yoga or exercise. You know, sometimes they're just, I think stress, if you're waking up every morning at 2 a.m. and it's something that you can control, meaning the thing you're stressed about is maybe it's a boy or a girl or, you know, whatever it may be, sometimes isn't that just a reflection, okay, We just have to look at our life and eliminate whatever this stressor may be, if we can, of course.
If you can, and also flip the lens with which you see your world and your issues. So if you're able to kind of change the way you think about that situation, sometimes it just takes, sleeping on it for a night, and you'll have a different perspective when you wake up in the morning, and that's really, really important too.
I think